Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we're here with another edition of the PWCC Weekly Review, where I go through the top 100 soccer card auctions for the week. We've been doing it a while now, you probably understand the gist of it. We talk about the highs and lows and what's going on with different cards in particular. If you do enjoy it, make sure to leave a like if you want to see more like this. As soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, let's go ahead and get on into it. So starting off this week, what I noticed first off was that the lowest amount's about $140. The last few weeks it's been closer to 100, so that is higher, which means some better cards have been auctioned. However, when I first started doing these, it was like 300, so it still is significantly down from that, but I don't think, again, it's a matter of prices being down, which they have been over the long term, but I think it's more so not as many good cards being sold, so we'll see some of that. Starting off here, nothing really too crazy. We have a Holland Green Velocity PSA 10 next to a PSA 9 second-year Panini Champions of Europe. This is like a 50-year sort of set. 1955 through 2005, and this is relatively common, but it is a second-year Messi in a PSA 9, so that gets 140. This Chick Soccer Portrait and Action, this is a Bobby Charlton, where you get two different pictures of him in a PSA 9. Why it's in this bigger slab, I do not know. PSA is kind of hit or miss in regard to that, but 140 seems to be about the going rate for these. Doesn't seem to be the most preferred, but it is definitely a respectable Bobby Charlton rookie. Up here we have a few different ones. I'm going to be honest, this person, Felix Listow, I have no clue who it is, so, just going to gloss over that. We do have a Christian Pulisic, which is fun, because I've never seen one of these Chelsea Pulisic ones being sold on PWCC, at least in the top 100 that we go through. Pop 1 of 2, just 3 graded higher, so a 9 going for 150 would imply, a 10 probably goes for like 400, 500. I don't know. This card had hype at one point, and given it's a first like big Premier League move for an American, where he was actually like a relative star, it was fun. So I could see maybe one day looking back, I'll buy maybe not this one in particular, but a nice commemorative one from the set. I do like the picture, but relatively speaking, I don't really think it's an important card all too much for most people. Next to that, we have Apollo Maldini. This is just a sticker auto from 2020 Mosaic, so nothing too crazy. Going for 156 though, not a bad price at all. I will say, obviously Maldini's a legend of sorts, but not the most coveted, I would also say. Then we get into a couple different Messi. So we have a 2010 PSA 10, so PSA 10 Premium, always kicking in. 160 right there for that one. Looks really nice, but like 6-year, not really all that crazy, I guess. This one, I think, it looks amazing. It's one of the, probably the best Mega Cracks, maybe. I mean, obviously, 71 bits has its whole thing, but in terms of an early Messi that looks good for Mega Cracks, this is really, really good. You get the orange on orange. Looks amazing. Personally, I like it a lot, and it has the sort of acetate outside that you can see through, basically. And then just keeping the eye peel going, this Beckenbauer is amazing. There was the, PSA 6 Muller that went last week and did pretty good numbers. I think that was like 700, 800. And so this is a PSA 2 going for 160 here. Again, I love the photography on it. I don't know how the back is on this. I haven't really checked. Yeah, definitely removed. You can see in the middle, it's missing some stuff, but it doesn't look that bad really on the back. So that is a mighty fun sticker there as well. Probably my favorite of the Beckenbauers. Definitely in terms of just like pure aesthetics, but fundamentals might not. I will say the green TTT also looks amazing, so I'll throw that out there. 2006 World Cup Ronaldo R9 right here, going for 160 and a PSA 10. Pretty decent price point. We saw a couple of them sell last week between, I think the Henry was maybe 120, 130, and then there was another one around 180. It might have been a Zidane, which I think we'll see another one here in a second. Then we have a couple vintage, a 1964 Sicker Verlag Pele and a 1.5, so I'm guessing, yeah, removed, and doesn't look terrible on the back, but you can definitely see there are some signs of it there, going for 160. Next to that, an 1899 PSA 5 Athersmith. I don't know who that is, but obviously a pre-war, very early soccer item in pretty high grade, but you never really know with these sorts of things. Some things grade pretty high just generally, and other things can just grade preposterously low. So really you have to know the set in particular to have a further view. We have tops now, Ansu Fati, nothing too crazy, but PSA 10, so if you're into him, that would be a fun one, maybe. PSA 10, 2006 Zidane, as we were talking about a second ago, so that goes for 170. Only $20 more than R9, which, I mean, this is obviously a pretty memorable World Cup, but how much does that play a factor? Who really knows? 2003 Ronaldinho Mega Cracks in a 9.5 going for 168. That's actually, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you wanted to have some sort of play. Yeah, I don't know if people do plays anymore, but the Mega Cracks from 2004 obviously has a ton of lineage, and the Ronaldinho in there is pretty highly coveted. But this would be the, an earlier, I think the first with him at Barcelona. So from that perspective, obviously it is cool, but on the other end of it, it's not the Messi rookie year set, so obviously you got that going against it. Pretty good price there though for a 9.5, and that was graded relatively recently, so good to see. 2017 Wayne Rooney Nobility Gold looks pretty good. Out of 10. Out of 10 golds are always gonna sort of do their thing, but 174 isn't, I wouldn't say crazy, but you know, I'm not big into the Wayne Rooney market, so I don't know the particulars. 2019 Erling Haaland. So wanted to look this one up. I think first one of the video. The foosball here, decent drop from the last sale, 200 down to 186. So despite Haaland doing everything he's doing, it has not really done much for his sticker market over the last year. I mean, it is up to, well, I guess overall actually it's down 38%, but that's a pretty bad sale right there that drops 100. So realistically, it's about even. At times up, at times down, but being about even after having the season he's had is pretty telling. Looking at the pop, it appears to be slowing, but one of the things is basically that up here it starts to go into weekly. So, I mean, it's going to look like it slows down basically every time you look at these. You have to look deeper into the numbers, and realistically, there's been about 16 graded recently as compared to the months before that, where it seemed like, you know, for the most part, it was closer to 30, 40, 50 on average. There's still a lot of these stickers though, so I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, more and more consistently get graded. That's just going to be the way it is. 1992 Claude Makelele, PSA 7, going for 192 right there. Pop 102, just one graded higher. I always loved the Panini foot from the 80s, 90s. Just a great looking set, I would say, in terms of sticker lineage. Makelele, just an underrated name, I would say, from the 90s, but at the same time, you know, is he underrated or properly rated and people just don't care because there's so many other players you can care about in soccer? It's, you know, up for debate. Then we have a Batistuta sticker auto, it appears, from the 2022 NT set, going for about 200 there. Not a bad price point, I would say. In terms of, you know, legend sticker autos, I don't know how much people typically feel comfortable paying. Just because when I look at other sports, you know, if this starts to become a more, I guess, established and consistent thing, you know, the more and more sticker autos come out, the more and more your sticker auto has to be in a good set. And is this really a great, I mean, it's a good set, you know, NT is cool, but it's a sticker auto in NT from what will be perceived as a random World Cup set at one point in time. And so, you know, just something to consider, I would say. Lionel Messi, Prized Footballers Gold Refractor, going for 200. That actually just seems really low, considering I thought Messi Golds did crazy numbers no matter what. Also Barca kit, so I don't know. That feels like a steal. Not that I'm really ever one to be buying that sort of stuff. Next to that, I guess, you know, in comparison, would you rather have a 2006 Lionel Messi World Cup card in 8.5? I'd imagine most people probably wouldn't. I think most people would go for that. But generally speaking, this is about what these go for, so nothing too crazy to see there. BGS not getting a premium as per usual. Above that, we have a 1965 Crack Galazzo Pele. This is one that has kind of like a foily look to it. $200 for a PSA 1 with an eye appeal grade. Looking on over at past prices, so the last one sold for $570 in January. I actually didn't really take too much of a peek into these. And then apparently one sold for $2,500 from the vault. But that sounds very suspect. Now, obviously, this all comes down to eye appeal, right? I mean, this eye appeal looks much better than that eye appeal, I would say. But even then, that's not going to make up a 10 times difference. So really, I don't know what happened there. That seems like a crazily high sale, and just relatively speaking, it would seem that someone got a deal on that one, or maybe, you know, people grossly overpaid for others. I do not know. Gold fluorescent Kevin De Bruyne, out of 10. So obviously people are going to like the gold. In terms of the card itself, I don't really know how much prominence it's going to have. This World Cup, I don't know. Kevin De Bruyne kind of threw me off with the whole, you know, he doesn't think Belgium has a shot before anything was really happening. It was just really strange. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously, you know, probably a Man City fan that transitions to collecting some Belgian stuff, I'd imagine, is what's going on here. Or maybe someone speculating on a gold play. Here's the first of a couple Timo Werners that we'll be seeing. So maybe someone just looking to get out of those after you know, Timo's year this year. Actually, a bit of a bounce back, but really anything would have been compared to what was going down at Chelsea. So yeah, 1 of 1 going for 210. Not a rookie, not a wildly important card. But I guess 1 of 1, so you got that going for it. Above that, we have an out of 75 gold Diego Maradona and a PSA 10. I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, it's Donruss, so that's cool, but the black and white photo with like a gold trim, the blue on the sides, it's just a little weird for me, but I do think that, I mean, relatively speaking, you know, it's not easy to get like gold serial numbers of, you know, legends like Maradona, so maybe that's why someone's paying that. Also PSA 10, I mean, this would imply like a 9 is, you know, 70, maybe $100, which isn't anything wild. Then we have a 1970 Zico rookie in a PSA 3. This isn't one that I have seen really at all, and it's a PSA pop, a 1 of 1, ungraded higher, so would appear to be a fun one. Seems to have him and the Holland team as well, which is a strange dichotomy. But yeah, that's very cool. Obviously, next to that, we can see that I did lose this item, Maradona rookie. I do have one of these already, but given the price point that they're at now and where they were way back in the day, I mean, you know, even before soccer boomed, really, they were like $50, $75, and this one was sitting at like 150 there with very little time left. So I took a stab or two, and you know, some people ended up outbidding, and I was like, whatever, you know. There was a 1.5 actually that went for a little bit lower than this recently, so I'd say relatively that did pretty well. But just generally speaking, I like Maradona stuff. I think, you know, when you look at his rookies compared to Messi, Ronaldo, Pele, they haven't really done the same thing at all, and personally I think that should be a factor. I feel like there should be more respect on it than there is, but at the same time, you know, Maradona doesn't really come up in those stat debates, the World Cup debates. I mean, up until recently with Messi, that also kind of I guess maybe took him down a little bit. Realistically, it's Messi raising himself up, but with that Messi World Cup win, that also is something that makes him more fondly looked upon, and maybe a little less with Maradona, so also a factor. Then we have a 1958 Bobby Charlton AMBC. This is without the Planet Limited up top, and basically that's a more rare version, and a 2.5 going for 210. Relatively speaking, it went for about the same price a 3.5 did recently, but the 3.5 looked worse. So overall, sort of makes sense. If you look on the back, there's a decent amount of staining. So 2008 Panini UEFA Lionel Messi PSA 10 going for 216, not bad. UEFA stickers I feel like are some of the most abundant, other than like World Cup and Euro and whatnot. But PSA 10 never easy with stickers, so it is what it is. Here, this Beckenbauer 1966 auto. It's a PSA, well, I guess BGS 3, and it is autographed, authentic. I don't really feel great about this though, just because from what I can tell, I mean, Beckenbauer is still signing. There are a few different ex-German players that you can tell still sign a good bit, and this is one of them. So to pay 200 something for a 3, I wouldn't do that. I would just wait until you can find yourself like a nice 1965 Bergman at a decent price. Not really all that terribly hard to do, and you know, even if I was going to get an auto like this, I just want it on a better card. So 1980 Matthias coming on in with a PSA 7 for 240. So I wanted to look back and see what this did. The last one was 450 last September, so almost cut in half there. We've been seeing the 5s and the 6s drop a little bit, but yeah, as you saw, we haven't seen a 7 sell in a while, so I thought that was pretty relevant. Next to that, Xabi Alonso, you don't see a lot of his flawless. I guess there's still a good amount out there. You just don't see it like touted around as much as most other players. I would say relatively underrated, or maybe properly rated, and people just don't really care. But someone you don't see much of, so 250 there seems like a decent price, I would say. Next to that, we have you know, someone that's very highly talked about all the time, and that is 2015 Select National Pride Blue PSA 10 Lionel Messi. Really cool looking card. I mean, I think it looks cool, especially, you know, now that you have the World Cup win and he's more fondly looked upon in the country and with the club history. So I think that that's great. I can't really speak to the price point, but I do think that it is a fun card, certainly. Then we have a Kevin De Bruyne PSA 8 action shot, the more common of the two rookies he has, going for 264. Those have been relatively down, I would say, but also kind of holding their own, relatively recent. Moving on over to the Messi, that sold for 260, which is about the price point that these typically have gone for recently. I always remember that because the 8s go for about 400 to 500, 9s go for 900, 1,000, so it seems to be about right in line. Here we have Cannavaro, so another flawless from the same exact subset here. Out of 25 pitch perfect, going for 276 in the same exact grade, so fun to see the comparison between those two. Two names that, you know, could be discussed, but don't get discussed enough, I guess. Then we have Ronaldinho, who this PSA 10 actually went for 276. I don't know if that's a pop report thing, or I guess Ronaldinho is more beloved than Zidane by a good premium, but Zidane went for, as we saw earlier, close to 180. R9 was 160, so that's pretty impressive there for Ronaldinho. This Wayne Rooney Topps Premier Gold 2003 PSA 9. Wanted to see how this did, so I did look it up. Unsure why that's here. There we go. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. 276 for this sale, actually up about 10% from the last sale. That was a month ago, so that's, you know, fun to see, I guess. But before that it was 500, and then before that it was 1,000. So, you know, I mean, depends how you want to look at it, but up from the last sale. Jared Muller, so this is an autograph here from the 1966 set, going for about the same price as the Beckenbauer that we saw earlier. About another $50, $60 for a pop 1 of 2, just one grade higher, so pretty fun there. Then we have some Gio Reyna, that is another USMNT player, so $300 for the BGS 95 there. That's actually a quad, well actually a Mint Plus, Gem Mint Plus, I think that's what it's called. Going for $300. I didn't really want to hop in on this one during the Gio Reyna dip. I'm going to focus on numbers. I've never really been a refractor guy, especially, you know, the prices people pay for these Topps chromes. I think like his base Topps in a 9 goes for 10, 20 bucks now, maybe 30 on a good day. So paying like 300 for 9.5, I understand it's probably a 10, so maybe that's why you're there. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like a pretty good sale to me. I wasn't willing to go that high. 2019 Topps Chrome Erling Haaland base going for 312 in a 10. Next to that, 1972 Pele PSA 3, really good looking one, low grade, not really many graded, so going for 312 there. Then we have an Estrellas Ronaldo. This is the Russian version. I believe this is the same set as the Henry rookie. I could be wrong there, but that seems about right to me. Fun looking card. PSA 7, not really that highly graded, but the Russian edition is much more rare, at least it would seem for now. PSA 10 Topps Finest Erling Haaland going for 336. Then we have a Pele 1966 Sicker Verlag Weltmeisterschaft, and it is hand cut. PSA 5 going for 350. Doesn't look the best, I would say, but not that bad. I like the jersey color, pretty vibrant. This one, I feel like we've already seen it 3 or 4 times, and it says it's pop 1 of 2, so I don't know if it's the same one going constantly, but this is another Uwe Zähler rookie. PSA 4, it doesn't say rookie in there, but I am almost positive that's a rookie. Nonetheless, 348 there, so would seem to be a fair price, but with me having seen this now like 3 times, I can't really speak to that. Then we have another Verlag Pele. This one looks very good, I would say. Probably worse than the other one, but it is earlier, so pop 1 of 5, PSA 5 going for 360. Doesn't seem too crazy. I mean, in the market where, you know, Pele is beloved and basically anything Pele is collected, I certainly see it. PSA 9 Mia Hamm, we see these a good bit. Maybe I've seen this Mario Kempes, I've just never really, you know, mentally noted it. I would guess this is a rookie, but I am unsure, to be honest. Pop 1 of 1, just 2 graded higher. I'm going to do the terrifying thing of looking at Mario Kempes rookie and hoping that, you know, the powers that be won't lie to me here. 1978, 79, 77. Seems like 75 would be the one. Oh, never mind. Got a Fulbito disc from 1974. So, it's what it is. Looks really good, though, and as far as early material goes, I think that looks beautiful. PSA 2 Franz Beckenbauer 1965-66. This is I guess the most iconic of his rookies, I would say. Going for 372 and a 2. Want to take a look at that. Dying. But that's actually up a little bit from the last sale. And the last sale was just a month ago, I guess, at 360. But that had an eye appeal. And if you look at it, I mean, the colors on this one are immense. So I know there's something going on over here. I don't know what that is. But other than that, looks great. So going for more than the one with the eye appeal, wouldn't have expected that. Still down a little bit from the 2 sale in November and December of last year, but relatively speaking, up a little. Then we have a Batistuta 2022 out of 55 auto. This looks on card to me, going for 384. We have another Timo Werner. This was what I was alluding to earlier. 1 of 1 in a PSA 10 Topps Finest, going for 384. This SGC 1 Maradona, I actually thought it was a really good deal. At least, you know, initially I was like, man, that's a pretty nice looking one. You know, colors look nice. Registration seems okay from this picture right here. Now, not that well centered, but when you do look at the back, there is some sort of drawing there. So, you know, someone used it to write down some mental note one day, and that costs a sticker significantly in terms of price point. Then we have a Kevin De Bruyne 2020 Kaboom and a BGS 95 Quad Gem going for 400. This is the 1977 Rummenigge Foosball, and pop 1 of 1, none graded higher, going for 430. As far as I'm aware, this is true rookie. I was looking it up earlier. We've seen the 78s before. They look very nice, but I've never seen the 77. And yeah, I mean, only 430 doesn't seem crazy high for what is, I guess, a German legend in a pop 1/1, but certainly, you know, you'd imagine more and in higher grade will come to market at some point. Ronaldo Obsidian in a 9 going for 444. Next to that, we have a Florian Wirtz rookie out of 99 going for closing in on 500 there with 456. This David Beckham historic ticket I thought looks really nice. I mean, it's a PSA 8 to be fair, so I guess relatively speaking, you know, a 10 would probably go for crazy money, or maybe someone paid high for this. It is a pop 1 of 3, just 2 higher. Early Beckham signature, I guess. That's, again, I talked about it earlier, but you know, how many times will these players sign? You don't really know, so always be on the lookout. But pretty good price there, and I believe that's the moment where he's celebrating the halfway line goal. So that's a cool, memorable moment there. Out of 50, Stadium Club Chrome, Messi going for near 500. You know, people do like Stadium Club, and this Messi looks really, really good. So you get him right there for near 500 in a gold out of 50. Next to that, we have the blue-red wave, or red-blue wave. There you go. Kylian Mbappe, BGS 9.5 with a 10 on the centering, so probably a PSA 10, you would think, going for near 500. Comparatively, I guess this BGS 10 Topps Chrome Future Stars goes for also near 500. Probably would rather have the Prism, but I guess that's a fun one. The Future Stars really doesn't get too much love, so that's something to think about. 1989 George Weah Panini foot. I always take a peek at this just because, you know, Weah is an African legend, and his son plays for the U.S., so obviously I have to care. Right there, last sale was near 500. The sale before that was 550. 9 went for near 1,000, so seems to be basically right in line, really. This is also recently graded, so always fun to note that. Panini Foot's sort of a weird one where I still don't know if they're just insanely rare relatively to other countries, or if France just has no clue what's going on here. Could be either, to be honest. I don't really see tons of French collectors, French people in the space, so maybe they just don't know. Or maybe they're just that rare. It's always sort of a fun thing, and I'd love to hear your opinions down below because, you know, obviously we're all just making our best guesses in regard to that. Topps Chrome Erling Haaland going for 516 for the base 10. Above that, one that I personally would rather have is the finest refractor PSA 9. Sure, you drop down a grade, but I don't know how this, I mean, I don't know. The Salzburg narrative, I feel like should stick, but at the end of the day, the hobby's the hobby, and the hobby's not, I'm going to say, insanely thoughtful, right? Typically, the brands that people like are the brands that stay. And Topps Chrome is a brand people like more than Topps Finest, and thus you're sort of always going to have this thing where people just don't care. But personally, I think it's a much better card. I'd much rather have this 9 refractor, but, you know, teach their own. I'd definitely rather have both of them over this gold Kylian Mbappe. Obviously won the World Cup this year, is the gold version, but it's not like it's insanely rare by any means. 10s aren't easy, but again, you know, you can find tons of these stickers raw every single day of the week. And if you can do that, I wouldn't be paying crazy premiums for 10s. Next to that, there's an Oliver Kahn BGS 9 gold going for 550. Really nice looking there. This, I initially, when I saw it, I was like, it better be a high grade. And luckily it was. It's a 2000 Panini Football Malmo team sticker with Zlatan in it. So I think he's up in the top left, like right there. But yeah, PSA 9, pop 1 of 3, none higher. So I guess people will pay for that. Personally, I think team stickers are pretty silly. If I was going to collect team stickers, I'd rather collect great teams, not rookies that are hidden somewhere in there. For me, that doesn't do it, but I guess this is very rare, and so if you want a replacement for the multi-$1,000s you'd have to pay for a good grade Zlatan, maybe you could go for this. 2016 Panini Foot Kylian Mbappe, obviously needs no introduction. People know what this is. PSA 6 or PSA 9 going for 600. I want to take a look at this, and it actually was not very good. So basically, I guess I looked at the all-time sale just to see where we are, right? In 2019, before anyone really cared, but obviously Mbappe had won a World Cup. They were like, you know, almost $100. Now they're 600, so obviously up a ton, but compared to the peak at 4,500, down a ton. So it really depends where you want to go from. But the last 6 months, this is a pretty rough sale, I would say. So the lowest of the last 6 months, probably lowest of the last year as well. Yeah, lowest of all, well, not all time, as we just saw, but down 200 from the last sale. That's pretty significant, and not great, but at the same time, you know, stuff like this are things that I feel like kind of get lost in PWCC. On PWCC, it feels like you kind of have to woo people, because if you see something in the same auction block every single week, you really start to not care, and that's something that might happen with the Mbappe sticker. Maybe not in 9s, but just generally speaking in different grades. 101 Future Star from the women's side of things. We have a PSA 10 Lionel Messi Super Barca going for $660. This is a second-year sticker and a pop 1 of 8, so seems to be pretty fun there. 1991 Ryan Giggs English Football PSA 10. I haven't seen this, especially not in high grade. I guess pop 1 of 2, so gonna do a decent premium there. Ryan Giggs is also, again, one of those players that don't really hear talked about, but I guess if there was ever, the type of player that wasn't talked about but could be talked about, it's always going to be Man United players, I would think, just because of the global brand that is. Sapphire Erling Haaland going for $720. It's about the same price point. They basically show up in every auction. That seems to be what I've seen for a while. This row is a lot of unique activity. This one is a Leaf auto of a bunch of Brazilian legends. 3 amazing sort of attacking type players, and then you got Cafu, which is kind of odd, but I mean, at least for Leaf, this is relatively concise in terms of the type of player they have, so that's good. PSA 5 Red Wave Erling Haaland going for $780. We also have a Mason Mount 1 of 1. Ooh, going for $780 as well. I think, yeah, that is a rookie. That's wildly low, but at the same time, Mason Mount really hasn't done anything on Chelsea, and when it comes to English football, if you're not just an extraordinary midfielder, you become, I guess, Phil Foden's backup, and he's already someone that people don't care too much about, so if you're Phil Foden's backup, kind of out of the mix. 2018 Cornerstones Gold Messi going for near $800. Looks pretty good. Don't know too much in terms of the set. I think this is first year finest. Could be wrong there, but kind of has some luster, I guess, in that regard. Relatively speaking, I'd probably rather have the Stadium Club and maybe even probably not the prize footballers from earlier, but I do really like the prize footballers. This, I guess, sort of has the gem-like design, but I don't really tend to enjoy it. We have an early Zidane then from 1992. You got the France flag and the France colors flying, so it looks really good. PSA 8 going for $870. I believe this is the first Zidane card. That's sort of the thing behind this one. PSA 4 Ronaldo R9 Deportivo. This actually seemed like a pretty high price. We saw last week it was, I believe, a PSA 7 went for like $2,000, and PSA 5s and 6s have been going for like $1,000 to $1,500. So to see a 4 creep up on what 5s have been selling for, that's kind of crazy. But with this sort of thing, you do have hand-cut stuff, and that's always sort of up for debate. But yeah, it is what it is. Then we have a Kylian Mbappe PSA 9 off-sticker auto for almost $1,000. Next to that, we have the Maradona True Rookie. That is the Pog. This one, kind of shameful. I mean, obviously in terrible condition. It's authentic because it looks absolutely terrible. But it actually feels like it could have had good eye appeal, obviously, had it stayed in a healthy state. Generally speaking, the photo looks pretty good. The colors look pretty good. If you can get past the million different creases that folded this thing up into a wad, and whatever black stain is on the front, then you might be able to go and get that. Obviously, a heavily discounted price at $1,000. Typically, ones in low to mid condition are going for like 2 to 3. Here you have a Kylian Mbappe Red Velocity out of 50 from the World Cup winning year. This is with PSG though, and that is going for $1,000, which seems fairly strong in a PSA 10. This was very, very weak. This was a PSA 5 record Pele and Garrincha. I did want to look at this just because I was interested, and are we gonna find it? We're not gonna find it, are we? Oh, well, we're not finding it. Anyways, I did look, and if you want to trust me, the last one went for over $3,000. Now, to be fair, I guess maybe it had much more border on it. It had a massive border because this comes from a magazine cutout, so you can really cut it out in however big of a border you want. I would prefer a bigger border because with that, well, one, I think it looks better, but two, you can also then theoretically keep cutting a lot and, try to get higher grades if you would like. So that is a possibility there. This one's pretty thin, but still looks good. So down a lot from the last sale, which was only at the beginning of the year. So really not all that much time at all. Out of 5, Red Wave Refractor 2019 Topps Chrome Cristiano Ronaldo going for $1,200 there. Pop 1 of 1, none higher. PSA 5 Ronaldinho going for $1,290. I did take a look at this. The last PSA 5 had gone for $2,000 on a best offer on eBay just a couple weeks ago. So you know, a nice, I guess, 30% discount there, but that's typically what you'll see between auctions and buy it nows. The auctions before this, though, to be fair, were also going for near 2,000 every time, so that is a pretty substantial dip from the last PSA 5 to sell. Thought this was pretty weird. 2 PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe autos going for 1,500 when the 9 that had a worse auto went for almost 1,000. Either someone grossly overpaid for the 9 or the 10s were a deal. I'm probably going towards the former of the two. 2017 Select Kylian Mbappe. This is, I guess, a rookie in terms of cards. First year for cards. Out of 49, people seem to love the 2017 Horizontal, and that goes for 1,770, which is a pretty good price point. Definitely, you know, obviously down from the peaks, as is most everything. But for that in particular, I did think that was pretty decent. This row, I don't really have too much to say, I guess. We have a sticker Lionel Messi auto going for 1,920. Definitely a sticker. Had to look a little bit closer just to make sure, but sometimes they make them look really nice to where you can barely even tell. That is numbered 10 out of 10, which is, I guess, what the premium is. I was trying to figure that out. I'm like, why is a sticker auto that's from, you know, 2020 Topps Museum going for 2K? That's why it would be, because it is a jersey number, so that is what it is. Pedri Stadium Club Chrome out of 50 auto and a PSA 10 going for 2,000 as well, so you can choose either, you know, the old Messi or the new Messi, or you can choose just Messi and Ronaldo combined. So this is a 2017 sticker with both of them on it, FIFA 365 with 2 autos that were received in person. You would assume these to be authentic. People can say what they want about BGS. Maybe everything BGS is, you know, getting in is just fake, who knows. Another row of autos coming in here. So this one has a Lionel Messi 1/1 sticker from the 2022 Father's Day. We also have a 2020 Immaculate Patch auto. This is a game use patch and a PSA 8 going for 3,000, so that's why you see the pretty massive premium from the other stickers. And here we have a Cristiano Ronaldo on card out of, what, 78 for the club history. BGS 8 coming in at 3240, really cool card there. Ronaldo, great auto, on card, you know, Man U kit, most everything you could want. And then we get into the top 3. Finishing in third, getting the bronze medal, is this 2017 Panini Immaculate Cristiano Ronaldo boot signatures. I will say, for this type of a card, when we talk about high end, I mean, this looks really nice. This is a match used boot. This is numbered out of 7. It's an on-card auto from Immaculate. Obviously, it's not, you know, the 2015 Soul of the Game. That's obviously got, you know, all the hype. The Messi Gold numbered out of 10 jersey number recently did like 70,000. And obviously, you know, this is just an authentic grade. It's Ronaldo, not Messi, what now is like a discount, I would say. It's Immaculate, not flawless, so you got that discount. So there are discounts to be made, but just when we're speaking in terms of what is on here, I mean, this is a game-used boot. This is numbered out of 7. This is Ronaldo. This is a on-card auto. Real Madrid kit. I mean, I don't know. It feels like a very cheap price. So when I looked up comps for that, there were basically none, which in terms of if you're trying to buy something high-end Ronaldo, that's both a great thing and a terrible thing. Then we have an Erling Haaland Prize Footballers Gold out of 50 going for 4,100 there and a PSA 10. So looking over at the prices, this one sold for 5,300. The last one was actually 4,500. So relatively speaking, up a little bit. The one before that, 42. The one before that, 4,000. Now there is a pretty weird jump here where basically the 9s used to go for, you know, 2.5, almost 3.5, but then a ton of 10s hit the market, and so that's probably tanked the 9 prices. But in terms of the 10s, they all seem to be holding up pretty well, and actually a little bit up in this case. Personally, I think this is one of the coolest Erling Haaland rookies, just because you get the typical border. It is, you know, Salzburg kit, which I fawn over gladly, and I think it's a pretty good price for what is basically an almost proven prospect at this point. I mean, when it comes to, you know, people that you think are going to dominate the game for 10, 20 more years, I mean, it's basically Mbappe and Haaland are 1 and 2. Everyone after that's kind of up in the air. And then finally, we have the PSA 7 Messi 71 bis going for 4,200. Want to take a final look at that, and basically, comparatively to the graph, the last sale went just last week for a little over 4,000, so this one's up almost $250 from that one. Still down from the previous highs, I guess, but relatively speaking, compared to the World Cup low at 3,000, still up a good bit. So that is a fun way to end it off. Basically, nothing but goats for most of the top 10. A lot of Lionel Messi, a lot of Cristiano Ronaldo. Mbappe, Haaland, you know, it's basically what you come to expect at this point. And overall, a pretty good week, I would say. Lacking on the high end, definitely. Most weeks there's you know, tons of stuff in the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. I mean, this week it was basically a couple cards in each range, so it's definitely lowered in that regard. But I'm still having just as much fun as ever. But that is going to be it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Would love to hear your thoughts on if stuff sold high, low, anything you bought or sold. Would love to hear it in a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.